welcome to a brand new edition of the Ramble on Reactions. Sitting next to me as always is handsome Dan Nye.
Sitting next to me as always is clever Eric Muller.
And we are recording live from my home, but we're far from Dan's home.
Yay!
Because we're far from home like Spider-Man.
My home. We're far from my home. So what's the next one? Home is where the heart is?
I really wish it's just something simple like Spider-Man Prom.
Or Home Again?
Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey.
Ooh, Spider-Man Homeward Bound. I like that. Anyway.
Let's be honest. We'll get into the spoiler. We already know what the third one's going to be called.
Oh, you think? Okay, well then we will be getting into that. But in the next video. We're shooting 2 videos for this one, so... Oh, even better. So Spider-Man Far From Home. That would be this year's denouement, if you want to be fancy, and which means the falling action after the events of Endgame.
Yep.
Because that's something you need, which they address, they address really quickly in a school video in the first 5 minutes of the film.
That had me legit chuckling.
It was so clever. That's the thing, this movie is very clever. And did you see that I tweeted at Chris McKenna about that because he was one of the writers?
I did.
And he said, that was all me, drink my bathwater.
Did you buy his bathwater?
I didn't know. I know there was that one Gamer Girls thing. I should have been linked to store.
Right.
Which is what I didn't say, but I probably should have. Again, after the fact. But, great writer.
So, yes, it picks up, right after Endgame, but it's 5 years after Homecoming. It's Peter and his friends who all got dusted.
Yes. That was actually kind of an important plot point, where it was like, oh, they're all the same age, which makes sense.
Yep. They are going off to Europe on a school vacation, but Nick Fury wants to talk to Spider-Man, so he hijacks the school vacation. It was pretty... I like that.
I like that too. Especially because they only use him for a very small... They use him for like an inappropriate Nick Fury amount. After Winter Soldier, you don't get a lot of Nick Fury in most of these movies, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But it's just funny how they do use him.
Yep. And then while on vacation, the Elementals arrive, and it's up to Mysterio to team up with Spider-Man to fight them off, and superhero action.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Peter's in love. Yeah.
With MJ, who is way more, cutting and,
She's the Ali Sheedy of the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, well, maybe not quite that, alternative, but she's definitely more not on the popular, if you could, how in 21 Jump Street where they do a really good job of establishing that going to high school nowadays is the polar opposite as to when we grew up.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that, but right, weird, it's kind of like that, but even more on that edge somehow, to where she's oh, she's such a cool alternative kid that she's well read,
and all the guys are just falling for her.
You're pretty,
except for Ned, because he's a true friend.
I loved that storyline. Oh, that was the Ned and the Betty storyline. Yep. I didn't realize that was Betty until halfway through the movie.
No, that was a good turn.
That was a great turn. And it was funny because they're oh, we've matured now. We're just friends. And it was just a summer fling. And it's oh, Ned, you're such a good character. I'm so glad you're in these movies.
So Spider-Man and Mysterio fighting the Elementals. And then Peter is gifted Edith by
Tony Stark.
R.I.P.
Yes, well, you can say that now, officially.
And then...
Shenanigans?
It's really a spoiler reveal that the great comic book villain, Mysterio, is the villain of the Spider-Man villain.
Well, we'll have to get into that in full spoilers. But
we won't go into full detail about it, but yes, Mysterio, this classic Spider-Man villain, is the villain of this movie.
They do a really good...
they do a really good job making you believe that he's not.
That's what I was going to say. They do a really good job in the first hour of the movie, where they just talk about...
And Jake Gyllenhaal did a great job selling it during the interviewing process.
That's what I'm saying, is they do such and it's well written to a point where it's at one point I was sitting in the theater this is too Marvel-y. I know the turn is coming, but this is too on the nose where it's
I've heard that before, that Far From Home is almost Marvel parroting themselves.
Yeah, for the first hour, 100%. That's exactly what it is. And then it really ramps up a notch, and we'll go into that in full spoilers, but it's whoa. Once you go from there. And then because we have to go full spoilers because there's what happens at the end of the movie, and then there's the 2 end credit scenes, which are...
Game changers.
Yes. So what else? Non-spoilers? Anything else you're a really big fan of?
Like I said, I like Mysterio in this. I brought this up with one of my coworkers, where it's like comparing the two Spider-Man films. Like Vulture is the better villain in terms of story and arc, but in terms of the cinema and actually being able to use the powers and whatnot, the full experience, Mysterio was great, especially when he was actually going full Mysterio.
Yes,
that sequence was great.
Yes, which again we'll get to. But I don't know. Comparing the two of them, you did such a good job. Like you already had. I like that Homecoming was not an origin story, so you got to be in high school, and it still does feel very much like he's just pushing back.
Yeah,
this
is still on a trip. Right, this is still a John Hughes high school coming of age story, except the main character is the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. Very much so.
Very much so. I mean, the first hour, I would say the first 30 minutes for me kind of drags because it is solely set up and it's solely
getting them to Europe. Yeah.
Yep.
A couple of jokes here and there about what's his face not being 21, Flash. But then that also does pay off as far as what Flash is doing throughout this entire movie, which he only has one thing to do, but it does pay off.
Oh, I love Flash in this, man. What they've done with that character, it's great.
He's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll give it a non-spoiler grade.
Non-spoiler grade, B.
I'll go B+. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's a good film.
I like this I'll compare it directly to another sequel that was the denouement last year, which was Ant-Man and Wasp, and this is way better than Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp was just kind of like there, and I feel bad that it was just like kind of not...
Well, that one had too many cooks.
It had too many cooks, and they couldn't decide, like, they couldn't just make anybody an out-and-out villain, which is why you got a half-baked Walton Goggins. And you should never half-bake Walton Goggins, because you fully bake him, he's delicious. Good old Walton. But this villain with Jake Gyllenhaal, he was fully baked.
Yeah.
And we'll get into a lot more spoilers, so I go B+, but we'll talk about that, because we have more thoughts. So... Clever Eric Muller.
Handsome Dan now.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. Watch our spoilers review, which we're about to film now.
Yep.
Because we have more to talk about, and we're not going to do a full podcast because it's been out for a little while. We just want to give you some of our spoiler thoughts.
That's right.
So,
slap that like button.
And the notifications and the bells and the things, and we'll see you shortly. Ramble on.
Ramble on.